I sat in my car in the office parking lot, gripping the steering wheel with knuckles pale from pressure. The dashboard clock blinked 7:58 a.m. Just 2 more minutes before I had to pretend everything was okay. Again. My name is Daniel. I'm 44 years old, divorced, a father of one beautiful 10-year-old girl named Emily, and I was, until recently, completely lost. From the outside, I seemed successful. I wore a tailored suit, drove a decent car, and managed a small sales team at a regional office. But no one saw what was underneath: the crushing loneliness, the weight of failure, the shame of barely making ends meet, and the regret that echoed louder than any laughter in my home. Since the divorce 3 years ago, I had fallen into a routine that numbed me. Wake up, work, bring Emily home from school, microwave dinner, pretend to smile, sleep. Repeat. It wasn't always like this. I used to be a dreamer, a musician, a lover of poetry, someone who believed in sunrises and new beginnings. But somewhere along the way, between unpaid bills and custody battles, that man had disappeared. What remained was a tired, hollow version of him, a ghost dressed in office wear. Emily was my only light. Her small arms around my neck every morning, her soft voice humming songs in the back seat, the way she laughed when our dog, Max, barked at cartoons. But even with her, I was drifting. I felt like I was failing her too. Then came that morning. It was a Wednesday. Just like any other. I dropped her off at school and was about to pull away when I noticed her running back toward the car. I rolled down the window, concerned. "Daddy," she said, breathless but smiling, "I forgot to give you this." She handed me a folded piece of paper, kissed my cheek, and ran back inside. I sat there for a moment, puzzled. Then I opened the note. It was written in her wobbly, 10-year-old handwriting. Short. Simple. "Dear Daddy, you always look so tired. I wish you were happy. I miss your songs. I love you no matter what. Just don't forget to smile sometimes. It makes you look like my superhero again." I didn't move. I didn't breathe. The words hit me like a tidal wave, drowning me in realization and shame. All this time, I thought I was hiding my sadness. But kids, they always know. She had seen right through me. That one note unraveled me. Not in a bad way, but in a way that forced me to confront the truth I'd been running from: I wasn't living. I was surviving. And that wasn't enough. Not for Emily. Not for me. That evening, I sat her down at the dinner table. "You said something today," I began, "that changed everything." She looked up, eyes wide. I pulled out my guitar from the closet, covered in dust, strings probably out of tune, and began to sing a lullaby I wrote for her when she was a baby. She cried. I cried. From that day forward, I made a silent vow: I would find my way back. Not just for her, but because I owed it to the boy I used to be. The one who believed in light. I started small. I went to therapy. I began writing again, short poems, songs, random thoughts on napkins. I applied for a weekend music class. I even started volunteering once a week at a local shelter, something Emily and I now do together. Helping others became a strange medicine for healing myself. At work, I stopped burying my head in stress. I began treating my team like humans, not machines. And slowly, my relationships, especially with Emily, began to feel real again. A few months later, Emily had her school play. She was playing a tree, yes, a tree, and was so nervous she couldn't sleep the night before. I coached her, stayed up with her, helped her practice her lines, which were just waving her arms like branches. After the play, she ran into my arms and whispered, "You were watching the whole time. I saw you." "I wouldn't miss it for anything," I whispered back. That night, as I tucked her into bed, she said something I'll never forget. "You came back, Daddy." Tears spilled silently down my cheeks. She didn't know the depth of those words. But they held a truth I had longed for someone to see. Yes. I came back, from the edge of depression, from the numbness of routine, from the quiet despair that eats away when you think no one notices. And all because of one note. A few simple words. In a world where we are taught to chase more money, more success, more validation, I learned that more isn't always the answer. Sometimes, the deepest impact comes from the smallest acts. A child's words. A hug. A song sung after years of silence. Today, I'm still a single father. Still working. Still figuring things out. But I'm no longer lost. Because of her, I remembered who I was. Because of her, I chose to fight for joy again. Because of her, I smile, and I mean it. My daughter's words changed my life in a moment. And that moment became the start of everything. Ending note for narration. If you're struggling, if life feels like an endless loop of numbness, pause for a moment. Look around. Someone sees you. Maybe it's your child. Maybe a friend. Maybe a stranger. But someone notices. And sometimes, just a few words can turn everything around. Be that voice for someone. Or listen when that voice reaches you. Because you never know, the life you save might be your own.